Alright, hello everybody! So, as we all know, All's Justice is coming out in about a month, which means that this game is going to be pretty much put on the burner, and everyone who is still playing this, which is like maybe 6 people, is going to be moving from this to All's Justice. However, a lot of the characters that are in All's Justice are carrying over from the base game, most likely with some changes that will be put in. I'm going to be trying to put out as many of these combo guides as I can on some of the characters who are going to be carrying over, one of these being Kendo Rappa. But yeah, I'll be trying to get a couple of these in. However, I am in exam week, which means that the videos will be coming out very slowly, if at a standstill at times, so do bear with. And if the guides do cut into when the release already happens, that's fine, I don't mind, because I know there probably will be people who will still be coming back to this game, like myself, because I do like All's Justice so far, from what I've seen. But this game holds a special place in my heart, and I'll always love it. Well, regardless, let's jump into the guide, since you know me. My name is Sir Talks a Lot, and we're going to be talking a lot today. Kendo Rappa. He's a brawler. He's probably one of the slowest walking speeds in the game, besides maybe Overhaul V2. And his sprint speed is incredibly slow as well, probably around the same as Midnight. Which makes sense for a character who does the amount of damage he does. Let's start on some of his basic buttons. So if we match your target combo, I guess is what they call it here, on Xbox, which I play on for controller-wise. I am playing on PC though, but don't worry, there are no mods at all on this. For his target combo, it's 4 hits. You cannot convert after that fourth hit. It does send them flying away, and it squeezes out 5k, which is honestly not that bad. It's pretty decent. However, he does a lot of damage, so you normally won't really be ending the 4th hit. His air combo is also 4 hits, which does get 5 hits. However, it does result in a round, I guess like you could say a ground splat, except you can't really combo after that. Like we're trying to punch after the fact, right? Nothing happens. So you don't really want any hit in that 4th hit. So just as Rappa, just avoid the 4th hit of your air and ground target combo. But yeah, like you can do 3 hits, and then you can do your armored, which does do 3k, which is obviously less, but it has unique traits which we'll get into. His armored actually travels pretty far, you know, deceivingly so, like you'd think that maybe here would be too far. But see there? That's another point of his armored. Some armoreds will kind of stop when they miss, or they'll kind of get stuck where they are. His, even if it misses, will continue the full animation. And sometimes that can actually get people caught in it, like what happened to that Bakugo just now. So, you know, that's pretty convenient. His armored air is a slam. So, you know, you could do like 3 air hits into an armored, which does get 5k, which is around the same as the 4 hits. So, I mean, you could do it. But, like I said, Rappa does a lot of damage, and you will likely not be really using that armored air for anything, unless someone's on you, just want them to get off you, you know? That's when I've used it. Some guy floating in the air, chucking stuff at me, I just go, you know what, Bucko? Sit your ass down. So, that's what I like to do with him. Let's work into his fun stuff, his quirks, specials. So his quirk 1 is called Strong Shoulder, which has added attacks. So similar to your target combo, how you just mash that for 4 hits, you'll want to mash this as well. So it has 3 hits, and the first hit is armored, which you'll be seeing a lot of armor with this guy. You cannot convert after the 3rd hit. It does send him pretty far. What you could do is, you could do 3 hits into an armor after those first 2 hits of your quirk 1, which gets you 6.5, which is obviously a noticeable difference. That's a 1,500 damage increase, which is great. You could obviously try to do something like this, but you can't really convert after the fact, even if you do it super early. It sends him too far away, and it's also kind of like a hard knockdown in a sense. So you normally don't want to be doing that 3rd hit. His tilt quirk 1 is Mad Shoulder, which also has added attacks. So if you do it once, it just does that, which obviously that's worthless damage. A bug could sneeze on you and that would be about 1,000 damage. But if you do all the hits, it does 4k and it gets him in the air. Now this is important. This move is where Rappa's combos actually do damage. You can go 3 hits into that, and you're at around 6k, which is pretty decent. But, like I said, Rappa does a lot of damage. So, if you were to add, maybe, I don't know, a dash cancel after that fact, now you're at 7k, which is pretty good, right? That's not including any of his other stuff yet, which we're going to dive into in a second. His quirk 2, Rupture Shoulder, is, you know, a lot of characters have it, you know, 100% Deku has it, All Might has it, a lot, All For One has it, you know, just the classic barrage of punches into a final punch. His has a unique trait though, which we'll get into with his Tilt Quirk 2. You could obviously do 3 hits into it if you really wanted to, but obviously it does less damage, so you wouldn't want to do that. However, you could do something like this, into Tilt Quirk 1, into 3 hits, into the Quirk 2, and get 8k, which is actually, that's really good. Now, hey, we're getting somewhere now, right? Rappa is actually looking pretty good. However, this is only the icing on the cake. We still have all the layers to go through. So his Tilt Quirk 2 is called Helix Shoulder, which is a grab, which does, you know, around 4k, maybe 3,500, which is good. However, it does this. As you can see, Rappa's kind of swinging his arm around, which he normally does, but it's empowered. At least that's what it looks like, right? This allows his attacks to be a little bit better. So certain attacks will be advanced, not all attacks. This isn't an overall damage increase, this is a damage increase on certain attacks. This affects his armor move and his quirk 2, which is the barrage of punches, and then the armor move is, well, an armor move. So, let's say if we did that armor move, and we mashed after the fact, with the X button, or, you know, hard combo button, you'll be getting 6.8, which is really good. You know, that's something to scoff at. That's pretty easy to do, too. Let's say we had that powered up again, and went for the barrage of punches. If we mash, we'll be doing 5.2, which is great, because we can use that, the quirk 2, in combos. So let's say we grab them, right? And we did that air combo I told you about. Now we're at 9.3. So see, like, rapid increase. Went from 8k to 9k, and this is not even optimal either. So we're only getting there, right? So he's got some really simple stuff to do, you know, like, but it all comes to the downside because he's super slow and he has like no way to deal with projectiles. So you know, that's his one biggest downside. But yeah, let's talk about his quirk, his Plus Ultra 1. I'm gonna back up so it's not hitting the person, so you can see his full animation. So what's unique about this is that the entire time he does it, he is armored, and he moves slightly forward. Right? And even though I was like all the way over here, right? Let's say I'll go all the way in the farthest part of the map. There's this initial lunge that actually is deceivingly far. Like, that's pretty far. And then he just punches after the fact, which does carry him a pretty distance. And that also sends him flying. So like, if you have an opponent who doesn't fight Rappa, or doesn't really know what Rappa does, sometimes you'll catch him off guard with that final punch, because it has a little bit of wind up, you know? You can combo into this as well. You can do 3 hits into Plus Ultra 1 if you really wanted to. Which does 10k. It's pretty good, right? However, your armored move has a unique state. So when you do this attack, right before he does that 3rd hit and you dash cancel, you can do a combo off of it. Which means that you can cancel that into a Plus Ultra 1. So let's say we did 3 hits into an armored, and right before he slams his fist down for that final hit, you Plus Ultra 1. Now look at the damage. You're going from 10 to 11. So like, there's almost no reason not to do that little bit of extra stuff, you know? It's Plus Ultra 2. however, is a very short range. So if you have it, you'll have to be hitting them first. Or if you catch them in the side step and immediately do it or something. You know, if like you're here and you do immediately or something, you know? But normally you do not want to be just tossing it out because, like all plus ultra 2s, you are very exposed when you do so. You can combo into it, so you can do 3 hits into plus ultra 2. However, you can also do that armored move I told you about into it. So if you do 3 hits into the armor, 1, 2, 3, 4, and before he slams down, you do plus ultra 2. Let's see that damage. Ready? That's almost 16k for something very simple from a plus ultra 2. A lot of plus ultra 2s and combos don't always squeeze out that much damage, but his does. So yeah, that's really easy damage, you know? Like, let's say if you're getting your ass whooped. Sorry, I know profanity, how terrible. Let's say you're getting your ass whooped, and you finally get a hit on this guy, and you know that he has all of his assists. He's waiting for you to convert after this or something. And you just go, you know what? I don't give a shit about your assists. And you go for a plus ultra 2. You'll scare him, bro. That will scare people. I got my ass kicked once, and then I did that combo with the plus ultra 2. And then the guy like was kind of on the defense the whole game, who was previously on the offense. So you know, it'll shock people when they see how much damage it does, because people who don't play Rappa, they don't really know how much damage this guy can do. You know. Now let's get into some of his combos. You know, this is the fun part of the video. So if we were to do some combos, I always recommend doing those 3 hits. So 3 hits, hit the tilt cork 1, dash cancel, 3 hits, and you can also do that again with the tilt cork 1, and you can get 8.8. However, this is what I like to do. I like to do those 3 hits into tilt cork 1, dash cancel the final hit, 3 hits into cork 1, and then a punch, and then some cork 2 punches, which gets you 9.2. But normally, that's great. But as a Rappa player, you are always going to want to get this grab off, no matter what, because this will last until you use one of those moves that has the effect. It doesn't wear off or anything. Like, I can have this for the whole match until, like, I guess, like maybe a round ends or something, or I get killed, you know, and then it will disappear. But for the time being, I'll always have it on, which is great. Meaning, let's say you land a combo and you end it with this. That means he has to be a little careful, because if you get a combo, man, you're doing a lot of damage. So let's say you do have it, and you do those final punches at the end, or you just went like that. Ready? 3 hits. Tilt cork 1. Do 3 hits. Cork 1. Green cork 2. And then mash the punch button, and you're at 10k, which is fantastic. That's, you know, with the powered up state. If you want to get that powered up state, I recommend either just doing 3 hits into the grab. You really want to be careful. If you're near a wall, you can convert after the fact. However, it's not always going to be able to happen. And look, that's 13k. But that is off of a bounce off a wall after your grab. So that's not always going to be the case, because some maps are very large and some are very small, so it just really depends. But you want to be finishing it with that grab or converting after the fact. So 3 hits into tilt cork 1, dash cancel the final hit, 3 hits into the grab, and then you're not in a powered state. And now you can back up a little and then, you know, wait your time to get another combo off. So yeah, I don't, however, just be careful because of his armored move when he does this. You cannot do a plus ultra 1 after the fact. So let's say I'm powered up, right? And I'm like, oh, he's pretty low. If I do a plus ultra 1, I'll finish him off, right? Let's do that. 3 hits, armored move. I can't do the plus ultra 1 until after that final hit hits, which means there's almost no point in doing it. So you don't want to do that hard move and try to do plus ultra 1 when you're powered up, because it will not let you do that combo. So just keep that in mind, you know, just don't throw stuff out willy-nilly, and, you know, make sure you have a good head on your shoulders and, you know, not just mashing. We don't like mashing here, even though I'm a victim of it myself. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. His red. His red is a little confusing at times. It is obviously really fast. Right, that's pretty fast. You know, it's faster than some other characters, but it is deceiving. His foot has to land on the opponent. So see, the texture there landed, but it didn't stop him, right? Back up a little. See, the texture is like right near him, but it doesn't do damage. It has to be his physical body. So sometimes, like, if you knock someone away, and then maybe like we'll make them return to center. I forgot some recovery on, but yeah, those combos will work even with recovery on, I believe. So if you did like, they do 3 hits. And then say he starts coming at me, right? And I go, oh yeah, this is my chance. See? I misses. Because the foot didn't land, but the texture did. And that doesn't mean it does the hit. It has to be his physical body hitting him for that red to land. Which can be a little annoying, because that's happened to me before, and I would get tilted. And now I have a cracked desk. But yeah, that's Rappa. I think, just to go over a simple combo, 3 hits, tilt hook 1. This is the point. This is the problem I brought up. So with recovery on, this can be a little hard to land at times, because sometimes they'll be able to recover out of it. So if you go for that final hit of the uppercut, depending on how far you are from them after that hit, they might have enough time to recover. So sometimes canceling it midway through, like there, and just securing that combo is sometimes better to do, and just missing on a little bit more damage is fine, because you just don't want to drop the combo, right? That's the exact opposite of what you want to do. But yeah, 3 hits, into the tilt hook 1. I don't mess this up. Three hits, tilt hook 1. And you can do it again as well. And, if I don't mess it up, God's sakes. And you can end it with that grab as well. Or, you can convert after the fact. And squeeze out 12k. You know? So like, ideally, you want to use that grab somewhere in your combo to get you in that powered up state. But yeah, that's Rappa. For counterplay, I'd give some advice is that you are going to struggle against projectile characters. It's the way of the Rappa. I mean, Bakugo is going to be your worst nightmare. Like, Bakugo will be like the worst thing you've ever faced as a Rappa player, because Bakugo has a gazillion ways of zoning you. You can obviously maybe like you could use jumps and stuff like that, which is actually pretty fast. Gets you faster than, I think you're actually faster than you are dashing when you do it. Right? That took that long. Back up the wall. Yeah, we're a lot closer. So, you know, jump it. You could do jumps and stuff. And that does make you move a bit faster. You know, like a little rabbit Rappa is. But, you know, you're gonna have to take your time. You know, guard when you can and cancel moves into stuff when you can't. You know, just try to buy your time and try to get some good damage in, you know? As a Rappa, it's your goal to just kind of bait players, or not even bait, but just, you know, you see someone like, oh, they're armoring you and you have a chance to sidestep, punish that asshole. Show him that he's doing the stupid thing, you know? Like, make them regret fighting you, you know? That's my advice. For assists, let's go to the character select just so I can talk about a little assist for Rappa. Obviously, you're going to want to have a Kirishima. I feel like Kirishima is like the standard for assist for Rappa and anybody in this game. He does 4k damage, he has a fast cooldown, and, you know, he's pretty easy to implement into combos if you're at the high enough level to implement assist in the combos. I didn't mention assist combos because I just want to talk about Rappa, just, you know, base Rappa. No assist combos. That's stuff that you'll learn when you play the game and you work your own assist into it. I do think Kirishima is a great assist though, because he's short cooldown, and he does 4k damage, and he sends people flying away, so if you need someone to get the hell off you, get the Kirishima in there, you know? You could run... sometimes running Mike can be fun, because he'll generate meter for you, which allows you to make longer combos. I don't, however, recommend it, because Mike's ground assist is only the meter, and his air one is actually an attack, so you just gotta remember that. You could run a projectile like, you know, 100% Deku, or Denki, or Jiro. Sometimes they're better. I feel like you want to probably use Jiro, or any like sound wave kind of character, because that is affected by... Don't talk over me, Jiro. Gravity does affect those, which means that if they get hit by it, they'll actually fall, versus staying in the air and getting shocked like what Denki does. Also, grabs are great. All for One, Kami, who else? Aizawa, technically Ida. Like, you know, the grabs are also fantastic, you know? Like, they can be really useful too. They can really help you extend combos. I've seen All Might using a couple of stuff too, just for the flurry of punches stuff, you know? Get some extra damage in. But yeah, I think when it comes to assists, it's just use what you know how to use. You want to be playing with what you know. But yeah, I think personally I like using Kirishima in this guy, because projectile and a, you know, a fast cooldown, and they're both fast cooldowns. And because Deku's is a slow moving projectile and you're also slow moving, it makes it very easy to follow with the projectile if it's going in a direction you want to go. Also, if it's slow and your moves are very slow, you can actually work his projectile into a combo naturally, without it really affecting the combo at all, which is fun to do. But yeah, I think I'm going to jump into a match against an AI quick at max difficulty, which obviously isn't really a good validator of how good of a character is, but I'm trying to show him off and show the combos that I showed you, and sadly no one plays this game. So, you know, we have to suffer with that. And you know what, I'll put myself at a disadvantage here and use the Bakugo, because Bakugo is someone who's meta, and he's used everywhere. And we'll also put us in UA High School, because we just labbed there, just to show you what it'd be like. Sure you will, Bakugo. But yeah, so, you know, I'm gonna be trying to punish him when he goes for something risky, you know, and I'll be talking while I play. So I'm gonna try to gain some space here, because he can obviously zone me. And see, like, he thought I was done, but nope, I can just chain another hit. Oh, and see, he actually punished me for that. That was smart of him. 3 hits. And look at that. That's some very good damage. But yeah, like, I'm just trying to go for that combo, and actually, let me try to see if I can get a grab off. But see, it is blockable, so you don't want to be throwing it out like I just did. That's another thing too. Just keep in mind if they have assists, you know, you want to be getting as much damage as you can. So, like, if they have an assist, you know, don't start throwing out stuff like, you know, high damage combos that will be broken, you know? You don't want to waste a lot of meter with this character. Nice. But yeah, you want to be, you know, getting that grab in when you can. You know, watching if they have assists, because if they break your combo, that's a waste of meter you just spent, right? So you want to be really careful with that. I am going to combo break here. Another thing too is just keep in mind when you're combo breaking, you know, you don't want to be throwing it out willy-nilly. Let's see, like, I ran out of meter. So, like, here's another thing too. You don't want to be spending too much. That's why President Mike might be good. Okay, he didn't fall for that. But yeah, you want to be making sure you get that grab in, obviously. And I'm going to throw out the Deku here. Sick. That was pretty good damage, right? But yeah, you can actually very easily force people to use assist stuff because, oh shit, because you know, Rappa does a lot of damage. It's scary. I can't believe that hit. Oh boy, here comes Damage City. Only problem is we ran out of meter. But yeah, you know, you're gonna want to keep in mind their assists and stuff, and also your meter, because sometimes I forget myself when Rappa just doesn't have meter. You know, you want to keep that in mind as well. But yeah, you just want to keep in mind meter, because you can use a lot of that by accident with Rappa. You want to keep in mind getting that grab in when you can to get that empowered state. But yeah, you can fight against projectiles, but you will be having to work a lot harder, which is kind of sad, but hey, that's Rappa. But yeah, that's Rappa. And I hope you enjoyed. I'll be trying to get as many of these out as I can. But yeah, that was Rappa. Thanks for watching. I'm not sure who I'll do yet, by the way. It could be a multitude of characters. It really depends on who I'm feeling. Also, I will be looking at comments when I can. So if you guys say, hey, I would love to see this, then I will gladly look and maybe try to do a combo for them. I do know a pretty big majority of the cast and some like basic stuff, but more complicated stuff like top players will do. I obviously can't match that. But yeah, so thank you for watching, and who knows what'll be next. Let's see.